Welcome back to our continued coverage of the Barberspan 250, the second round of the Ural Trucks and Fila Africa Inland Off-Road Championship. So far, we've seen a massive attrition rate with only 13 cars making the flag. These are the crews that made the coveted top 10. They say a championship is never won in the early stages of the season. The old adage of, it ain't over till the fat lady sings. Whilst this may hold true, the E5 entry of Johan Visa and Jerry Besson have now made it 2 in a row with a clean sweep at Barberspan. Seems that their reliability problems are a thing of the past, and with some of their fancied competition falling by the wayside, they took the well-deserved win, bolstering their championship position at the top of the table. Class E is looking strong for Visa and Besson. Yanni Visser and Donnie Murray in the T16 Ford Ranger seem to be doing some gardening in their quest to finish the Barberspan. Seen here carrying some extra weight on the car. This part of the tree has now been relocated many miles from where it originated. There's simply no stopping for something as trivial as a fairly large part of a tree stuck to the front of your car. As long as it goes, off-roaders don't stop for anything. A class win and 9th place overall was their reward for the day after encountering their fair share of problems along the route, the tree being one of the minor ones. Yanni truly showed his form, and great to see the pairing between himself and Murray starting to bear fruit. In their lone Polaris, up against some much more fancied opposition in the Can-Ams, Aldi Erasmus and Andre Gildenaes kept it all together in the G12 entry and stayed well out of trouble, not risking anything. They knew that with the rate of attrition, if they got their car to the finish, they stood a good chance to do well, and that's just what they did. A 2nd place in Class G and an 8th overall was an extremely well-spent day at the office. This also marked the highest finish so far for the Polaris entry. The trip from Bloemfontein to come race at Barberspan here was a long one, but not as long and stressful as the day's racing at the actual event. Not a clean run by any measure. The team of Stain Viviers and rookie lady navigator Alida Fouchier finally put the mechanical and electrical gremlins behind them to clinch 2nd place in the Class S and an amazing 7th place overall to match their race number. Lucky number 7. This car has been on the national and regional circuits for close to 10 years now, and this looks to be one of their best seasons to date. Tiens de Toy, alongside new navigator Dirk Putter, they slipped and slid their way to 3rd place in Class D in the Toyota Land Cruiser, the unstoppable cruiser. Like all the other teams, the D2 entry found the Barberspan 250 to be a tough event, but in the end, they reached the finish line with big smiles on their faces, not a too gnarly repair bill, and ready to go racing for the rest of the season. The Land Cruisers are doing a great job at the moment in the Class Ds. And then it finally happened. Having already been second twice, Glenn Turon and Craig Galvin in the G4 Bumblebee crossed the finish line first in Class G for an overdue and very well-deserved win, and with a great 5th place overall to boot. Bumblebee was covered in mud at the end of the race, not to mention the driver and navigator who didn't have the luxury of the windscreen, and the no doubt lengthy and tedious cleaning job ahead of them couldn't tear and dampen the spirits down. The win now puts them at the top of the Class G standings, and they are now the ones to beat. Bumblebee is on top. Defending champions or not, Lawrence Van Veek and Marnie Roo found the going a bit tough this season thus far. Although it's still early on, the pair are not having things their own way, but as always, they will keep fighting to the end. They came home from the Barberspan 250 in second place for the Class Ds and a very creditable fourth place overall. That's a great result, and they can build on that for the rest of the season, but they definitely held a lot back just to make sure they could bring the Toyota home. They brought it home, they got the points on the plate, and now they can climb the ladder. Pushing to the limits is par for the course for the new Class D entrants, stomping Maynard and Adrian Roots. With a win at the first event of the season, the pair were hoping to follow that up with another win here at Barberspan for the 250. And after the dust and a little bit of mud settled, the D11 Toyota Land Cruiser, they did just that. They won the Class Ds and finished a very handy third place overall. They're now the new leaders in the points table, and they will have a target on their back going forward into the rest of the season. But they're well up for the challenge. In fact, they want the guys to come for them. They like the pressure, and they want to be pushed. That's where they excel. That's where they exceed. That's why we're seeing these as a very powerful championship pairing for the rest of 2020. The drive of the day had to come from Heine Stumfer and Frans Kok, starting the main race in a lowly 14th place, having had to open up the track in the prologue. They simply took no prisoners and passed, count them, 12 cars on the route to end up second overall and took the win in Class S in the process. If they continue on this vein, the S5 number may quickly turn into an S1 come the end of the season. Great to see Heine back in action after a break for a few years, and it's simply a pleasure to give him his all, and France keeping him well on point. What a great job on the wheel and the notes from this amazing pairing. The S5 is charging hard now as we roll and get ready for round number 3. And so to our overall winners, and the winner of the FIA Prototype class. Fastest coming out of the qualifying run, Ernst Roberts and Henry Kerner went out in pole position on the day, and they never put a wheel wrong. They led from the front after qualifying, and that was all she wrote. The Nismo-powered Nissan Navara never missed a beat throughout an entire 250 kilometers of the roughest terrain this series and the country has to offer. They were never challenged once. A perfect end to the day's racing, considering this was their first time that they had taken on the might of the Barberspan 250. If you can win Barberspan, you can win anything. This is going to bolster their charge as they go forward into the rest of this tour and the rest of the tours that they'll be challenging throughout the end of 2020. What a great drive, and the champions of Barberspan for the 250 in 2020. It's Roberts and Kerner. Big smiles and well deserved. No, the screen isn't wrong. That's all of the special vehicles, the open wheelers A, B and P. Not one of them managed to make the finish here at Barberspan in 2020. For production vehicle FIA prototypes, it was Roberts and Kerner fastest. In the T's, it was Visser and Murray, and Class S was Stamfer and Koch, winning ahead of Viviers and Fouchier. For the Class D's, Meinhardt and Roots beat out on Van Wyk and Roux, and in the Class E's, it was Visser and Besson ahead of Cook and Parkin. For the Class F, Oki and Jean-Andre Kruger did a great job to beat out Jada and Smith, and in Class G, the side-by-sides, first win of the season for Turon and Galvin. In the overalls, no surprise to see Ernst Roberts and Henry Kerner topping the charts, with Heini Stamfer and Franz Koch ahead of Maynard and Roots. That was for productions. Overall, that was the top three. We went down into the pits afterwards and caught up with a new winner on the tour.
What a privilege to enter the Barberspan 250, this legendary race. Wow, but geez, check the car out. The mud was unbelievable, but we had a good day, managed to bring it home first, which is a good thing for us.
First time.
Yeah, so good day overall. A lot of cleaning to do, that's for sure.
Yeah, what a race. As Glenn said, it's a legendary race out here. Great fun, lots of mud. One or two mistakes, but yeah, that's off-road racing.
The toughest event on the tour is done. We look forward to round number 3 of the Ural Trucks and Fila Africa Inland Off-Road Championship. That's next.